Good morning, Sun Lovers. This is George McClellan setting in for BKP, who's doing a telephone interview. And I think after listening to his comments on local politics, it's time to go national and talk about what's not in the news. The news media is refusing to discuss or highlight the problems that Democrats had this weekend at their Nevada convention, which turned into a fistfight match, an absolute riot between Bernie Sanders supporters and Hillary Clinton supporters. The useless senator from California, Barbara Boxer, she made an appearance, was introduced, and was booed off the stage, and she lost her train of thought. Finally, the Las Vegas police, a whole platoon of them, came in and cleared the auditorium, cleared the convention hall. And anybody who was refused to go was arrested. I don't think there were many arrests, but that was a threat. And they had to put that to an end, and they did. I might remind everybody that the GOP National Convention will be coming up in July in Cleveland. And those same Bernie supporters at Nevada, that's the same type of people who will show up on the streets of Cleveland to protest and make riots and introduce anarchy as a political tool for dissing and destroying your enemies. May the 24th is our election day, and on that date also a book is to be published, put out to the public called Confessions of Congressman X. Now, no one knows, or at least I certainly don't know, who is Congressman X. But those who follow my short take essays on political discourse will realize that I have been talking constantly, shining the light as an outsider on what I consider the corruption in Congress and focusing mainly on the GOP. We already know the Democrat Party has gone socialist. They were usurped by the Communist Party USA years ago, but so I focused on the Republican Party. But this fellow, and I'm just going to read you some excerpts because they're important to know. The book comes out on May the 24th. It should come out now, but these little excerpts will help you decide whether we need to have term limits for our congressmen or what action we should take. He says, and I quote, now what I'm going to do is quote, "Most of my colleagues are dishonest career politicians who revel in the power and special interest money that is lavished upon them." End quote. My main job is to keep my job, to get reelected. It takes precedence over everything. Fundraising is so time consuming, I seldom read any bills I vote on. Now think about that one. The omnibus spending bill, 2,300 pages, and no one read it. Happily, no Republican voted for that one. But this omnibus spending bill, I meant to say Obamacare, the omnibus spending bill, no one read that. They didn't have time to read that either. So he says, fundraising is so time consuming, I seldom read any bills I vote on. Like many of my colleagues, I don't know how the legislation will be implemented or what it will cost. These fellows in Congress, our representatives, they have staffs they rely upon to brief them on what a bill will say. And these staffs have been in place for so long, they're career staffers, that they have probably, that most of them have leaned to the left and will frame any vote or any synopsis that they will give to their employer, the congressman, in the light of advancing socialism. Let me read that one again. Fundraising is so time consuming, I seldom read any bills I vote on. Like many of my colleagues, I don't know how the legislation will be implemented or what it will cost. Voters are incredibly ignorant and know little about our form of government and how it works. Corruption hides itself, my comments. Corruption hides itself very well. And for us out here trying to make a living, find a job, if we don't have one, keep food on the table for our families and our children, we don't have the time to look into corruption. So we let them go on and do what they want. That's why I am now becoming very quickly a supporter of term limits. It is far easier than you think to manipulate a nation of naive, self-absorbed sheep who crave instant gratification. It's a quote I like. Wolves do not concern themselves with the opinions of sheep. Are we there or are we not? And he said, we spend money we don't have and blithely mortgage the future with a wink and a nod. Screw the next generation. It's about getting credit now, looking good for the upcoming election. And that's what it's all about. We have an election here in the 9th Congressional District of North Georgia. And opponents who have see this and are challenging our incumbent, our two-term incumbent. So if you keep these thoughts in mind, it might be helpful for you to know those facts. Get the book, go online and read a synopsis at one of the online sites. Another story not being told. 1,000 gun owners in the state of Washington rallied at the Capitol in Olympia in defiance of the newly passed gun control law, and in their state is I-594. This isn't just a protest. We are here to openly violate the law, stated Gavin Seam, organizer of the event. He said, I will not comply. At the end of the rally, gun owners burned their concealed weapons permits, signed a petition vowing to refuse to follow the new gun control law, and we pledge our blood, we will not comply. So it looks like our patriot enthusiasm might be coming back to America. This certainly isn't the first large-scale act of civil disobedience by gun owners. Earlier this year in Connecticut, hundreds of thousands of gun owners refused to send in their gun registration forms, also becoming felons. Isn't that nice? Similar numbers of gun owners in New York have refused to send in their registration paperwork, and some even videotaped themselves burning the forms. So we have a popular uprising in America on the issues of our Constitution, and I won't just say the Second Amendment, but on the issues of our Constitution. The First Amendment is under assault as well. So that's an interesting story. Another story that has just been skimmed over is the huge holes in Clinton Foundation finances. After more than a year of research, a Wall Street analyst is arguing that the Clinton Foundation books are riddled with financial inconsistencies that rise to the level of fraud. Well, who would have thought? Charles Ortel, who gained recognition for correctly identifying problems with General Electric's financial statements in 2008, has prepared 40 reports highlighting discrepancies that he said prove the Clinton Foundation has covered up cash flows since 1997. I think that falls under the category of a RICO violation, and you can bet the FBI already knows that. They're getting ready to interrogate this woman, but I hope they get on with it pretty soon. Donald Trump, back to national politics. He says refugees will launch terror attacks. Well, we know that's already happened, and it's not going to stop, so you can't argue with that. All they argue about is his right to say it. The Democrats are now seeing Trump as the potential candidate against whom they must compete on the Republican side. And they are laying the groundwork to make Hillary a victim. Can you imagine that? A victim. The 2016 campaign has been hard to predict, they say, but it is likely that Trump will be the Republican nominee. The press has painted the picture clearly in the days before Trump became the de facto GOP nominee. In May the 6th, NBC Nightly News anchor Lester Holt encouraged Trump to start on her by asking if there's anything that is off the table when it comes to campaigning against her? No, there isn't. If she wants to be a professional campaigner, then sex does not involve, her gender does not involve. And here's one I like. Trump causes a GOP identity crisis. Well, duh. Nobody in the GOP wants Trump to be the president. But now they're starting to fall in line. I mean, Reince Priebus, you listen to him in his interviews, he is not bad-mouthing Trump. And who are the ones? It's the old Rockefeller elites who cannot abide the thought that they're going to lose their situation. I'm talking about Mitt Romney, Bill Kristol, who's not ever been a politician, and this fat blowhard here in Georgia, Eric Erickson, who fancies himself a political perfecter and a total anti-Trump toad. So these people are trying to generate up some candidate that may be willing to put his life on the line and run as a third party. Can you imagine it? They have a suicidal wish for the Republican Party. Did you know? Well, this is not important. I mentioned Reince Priebus. Priebus said that voters don't care that Trump impersonated a spokesman and lied about it. Well, there's no evidence that he did. He denied it. And there is a fellow on his staff who sounds like Trump and did make interviews. So that's not going anywhere for Trump supporters. And I am being told that it's probably time for a commercial break. So I'll give you up. Take us away, line.
Doug Collins can't defend his own record. What does he do? He tries to divert our attention from his record, and he's diverting it onto Paul Brown. He is refusing to stand up and talk to us about his record. He wants to talk to us about Windstream. Any congressman that's sitting up there is going to try to help the people with their issues with Windstream. Any congressman sitting up there is going to try to help their people when the Corps of Engineers changes the rules on pulling water out to water your grass. Any congressman will do that. But will any congressman go up there and vote against omnibus bill? Will any congressman go up there and stand for the 9th District instead of standing for Washington? Will any congressman go up there and tell Washington what the 9th District wants instead of coming back here and telling us why Washington has to have his way? I'll tell you, no, not just any congressman will. Let Doug Collins come back and sit down and get out of our hair.
This is Mike Skupine, and I approve this message.
Paid by Skupine for Congress.
Trust. Round here, we trust people who get things done. Like our state representative, David Ralston. He's cut taxes and balanced the state budget every year. And Ralston delivers. New roads, new jobs, a new university, and the toughest immigration laws in America. Those Washington guys talk big, but never deliver. Round here, we trust David Ralston. Ralston gets it done.
Doug Collins has been a bad representative for the 9th District.
How bad is it?
Doug is such a bad representative that he won't even represent himself against his challengers for the 9th District seat. Well, that's pretty easy to understand. After all, showing up to defend a record like Doug's is a pretty tall order. Since taking office, Doug has voted with the House leadership over 90% of the time. Doug voted for Boehner for Speaker twice. He voted to spy on you, to bail out Wall Street banks in advance of the next crisis, to train Islamic radicals to take down foreign governments that pose no threat. Doug voted for the Omnibus, voted to fund every Title X Planned Parenthood appropriation, and then has the nerve to try to sell you that he did not vote to fund abortion. If you want a representative who will work tirelessly to undo every wrong Doug Collins has done against the will of the 9th District, vote for Mike Skupine, a proven leader protecting the U.S. Constitution.
It's Mike Skupine, and I approve this message.
Paid by Skupine for Congress.
In 2015, our Gilmer County Probate Court heard over 1,300 criminal cases, 250 estate and guardianship matters, and probate administered 110 plus wills. Those are very serious issues, and experience matters. We talked about the fact that every county with more than 96,000 people has a licensed attorney as their probate judge. The state requires it. They don't hear different cases. They don't hear different matters. And I don't believe that the due process you receive when you go to the probate court should be based off the county you live in. You want to have a judge who's been there, who's been on the other side of the bench, who's argued that, who knows it, and who can help you. Because compassion isn't always just about being able to listen, but it's being able to do something when you do listen. Experience matters, and I will use my experience in my private practice, in the U.S. Attorney's Office, and in 2 judges' chambers for the people of Gilmer County.
With early voting starting May the 2nd and the primary beginning on May the 24th, you'll be voting to elect leaders to several offices here in Fannin County. When it comes to the Chief Magistrate, you need someone that demonstrates honesty, integrity, and experience. Since being appointed by the Superior Court judges, I've made it my passion to uphold the same values and principles as the Honorable Judge before me. Whether it is answering the call when our community needed me, or operating under budget during my term as Chief Magistrate, it's clear that throughout my 11 years of experience, I have always had Fannin County's best interests at heart. So this May, vote for the right choice. Vote for honesty, integrity, and experience. Vote to keep Sherry Walker.
And I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. We're back. Thank you very much, George, for filling in.
Well, give me some time to say some things that needed to be said.
I haven't seen you in a while.
Well, you done some good interviews last week. I watched them at home, and I was very impressed.
Thank you very much.
You'll never make a police interrogator, but you make a darn good news interviewer.
Oh, I have to.
Oh, I'm a police interrogator.
Well,
I got to step up my game.
I have to agree.
But no, George is the police interrogator.
And you know what the best part is he went through a whole segment, talked about term limits, talked about everything, and my ears are still in check. I didn't go deaf. He wasn't yelling at me.
Okay. Hey, folks, we're back, and I had to step away. I did an interview with a radio station over in Athens. They are interested in what's going on in North Georgia concerning transgender bathrooms in Fannin County, and also some things going on with the Speaker of the House, David Ralston, and the race in the 7th District. So at this time, I have a couple things I need to wrap up with, but at this time, I always like to save plenty of space for George and some final thoughts. George, what do you have for us today?
Well, we're on the issue of the Republican candidacy, and I wrote this one a few days ago. And didn't get to present it. It's on Fetcher News if you want to look for it, but it's called The GOP and the Donald. The GOP is finally realizing that Donald Trump will probably be the Conservative Party candidate. Meetings were scheduled between Trump, Speaker Paul Ryan, and GOP Chairman Reince Priebus. We already know the results of that. Well, we don't really know the results of that, but the meetings were to try to convince Trump to become the Republican candidate as opposed to just the conservative candidate. To do this, the GOP must persuade him to accept the GOP principles so the GOP presumably can support an unwanted but nonetheless inevitable standard bearer, and you can search your gag reflex here if you want, to defeat Hillary. What Trump decides to do is still unknown, but I'll take a wild guess. Trump already knows what the American voters have known for a while, that the GOP, as it currently stands, has no principles, stands for nothing except maintaining their hold on power, promoting big banks, big business, big government, and a new world order. Trump is already big business, so he can't be all that impressed with the GOP's desperate need to remain relevant. Trump knows how business works, and in Republican hands, he knows that their principles of constant capitulation can never make America great again. Trump holds the key to the GOP's future, not this interloper Paul Ryan from Wisconsin. Inevitably, the GOP will come over to Trump's side, and we see it starting, and then we will see a shift in America's direction back to the right. Trump, love him or hate him, is not rigid in orthodoxy, but triumphant in business. He has stepped forward to bring the status quo crashing down because he knows that American voters are disgusted with the supposedly conservative party constantly failing them. Indeed, actually promoting their own weakness in the face of true American values. I suspect that Trump will be telling Ryan and Priebus what they will do. He could say, I won, you didn't, so I'll set the parameters for moving forward. Either you come along with me or you get off the stage. Imagine what Trump could do if he decided at the convention that he had been shafted. Trump, with his millions of followers around the country, at the spur of a moment could declare his position as a third-party candidate, and that would be the finish of the GOP. He could call it the American First Party. I'm also reminded of the story of a linguistic competition. The question was asked, how does one explain the difference between the word complete and the word finished in a way that was easy to understand? Most said there was no difference. But one competitor described the difference this way. When you marry the right woman, you are complete. When you marry the wrong woman, you are finished. But if the right woman catches you with the wrong woman, you are completely finished. That will be the complete finish of the GOP if they abandon Trump for a compliant lackey. Who are the losers? The consulting class, the lobbyists, camp followers, and hangers-on. Karl Rove, crafty and operator as he is, leads the pack of the potentially unemployed. There is also a whole Congress of representatives who can be added to that list. It's simply a matter of voting them out when their time comes. It is the politicians who have ruined America, and it is the politicians who refuse to correct their errors, blaming others instead. In our own government congressional district, the incumbent cannot satisfactorily explain his vote for the omnibus spending bill, but attacks his challenger for alleged perfidies that never reached the level of a crime. Folks, listen to the facts. Review your data out there. Listen to FetcherNews.com and challenge the premises, and let's vote the bums out.
Thank you, George. I appreciate you very much. Folks, I want to wrap up with a couple things here, and I'll wrap up here with a couple things. But first, I don't want to end with so much emphasis on transgender bathrooms and the President of the United States. I want to make a couple comments that surround that I want you to stay here for, but actually go in a little different direction. Mr. and Mrs. Obama have decided to do social experiments on our children. Well, sure, I can understand why a kid can't figure out which bathroom to go to. The poor kid can't get a little bit of salt for his tater tots at lunch. They've messed with the kids' lunches at school. They've messed with everything. A kid can't go to the snack machine and put 50 cents in and get something with some sugar in it. Okay, fine, great. But the Obamas decided to totally take our children and do a social experiment all the way to the end. And I understand they don't care for them. And I know that may upset you. But how can a president of the United States tell you he cares for your children when 99% of the children in today's public schools are not confused on which bathroom they need to go to and what gender their that's on their birth certificate? So how can he seriously write that letter Friday and say he's going to take billions of dollars away from 99% of the children in the United States and look at you and tell you he cares about your children? I want to shift gears and I want to say some thank yous. Here at FetcherNews.com, we believe in you make the decision, and we believe in bringing you things that are not edited. What I mean by that, if you were to click here at 8 a.m. and you stay from 8 to 10, you may feel that I'm a little over the top opinionated. Yeah, a little shocking, right? But let me tell you what I do guarantee. I guarantee freedom of speech. And what I want to do is I want to thank the entire board of the Fannin County School System last Thursday night. Their rules say that public comment lasts 30 minutes. But you know what? The chairman, along with the rest of the board, but the chairman, I want to say a special shout out to Mr. Bobby Bearden. Mr. Bobby Bearden, the other night, allowed 2 hours, when I say allowed, 2 hours and 45 minutes of public comment. The other night, Mr. Bearden said that he would not stop until everybody that wanted to say something concerning the matter of bathrooms had the opportunity to say it. And it took 2 hours and 45 minutes. The board patiently listened to every person that came to the podium, respected everybody that came to the podium, and gave everybody their voice. So on the levels of freedom of speech, we want to give a big shout out to Mr. Bobby Bearden of the Fannin County Board of Education. One more thing I want to comment on is, let's not forget, the class of 2016 graduates this week all over the United States for the most part. In Georgia, this Friday night, Gilmer County and Fannin County graduate, and I think Saturday morning, Pickens County graduates. Many others throughout the North Georgia area. I don't want to leave anybody out. So I think what we need to do is we need to get a little bit of a grip. We need to brace ourselves for the fight. And yes, there's a fight in front of us that we must win. We must not only take the fight on, we must win the fight. Okay? And it's more than just a hat slogan like Donald Trump says, "Make America Great Again." We must win America back through the battle. But let's take a little break. The kids of 2016 deserve to walk across that podium. They've been there for 12 years. Some 13, some 14, some 15. Just saying. But we need to remember the kids walking across the podium this Friday night are not the kids that decided to do a social experiment with their school, are not the kids that decided that the government would tell the states what to do with the funds to educate them. See, they're not the problem, but they are our children, and they're walking across the stage Friday night. So let's back down just a little bit this week. Let's enjoy our children. Let's wish them well, okay? And let's have a little bit of fun. And then as soon as they throw their caps in the air, I guess what I'm calling is for a ceasefire. So let's just have a ceasefire. Once the kids throw the caps in the air and the day's over, we'll get right back at it. But between now and then, hey, Obama is what he is. He's the first LGBT president of the United States.
And black.
No, I don't think so. He's just LGBT.
Half black.
He's something. He's something all right.
color
Oh boy,
blonde.
something all right.
He's
All right.
okay.
I know what they say back home. But anyhow, that being said, I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. Now, a couple things. Just remember, next Monday, all week long, we are going to work on campaign issues. Just a reminder, we started the show next Monday morning. You need to take a note of this also, George. Next Monday morning is Candidate Day. All right, so we're starting with 9th Congressional District at 8:15. We'll go from Mike Skipine to Roger Fitzpatrick to Paul Brown, Doug Collins, Bernie Fontaine. Then we will go to the 51st District State Senate candidates, Steve Gooch and John Williamson. Then we will go to 7th District State Representative candidates, Sam Snyder and David Rawson. It's Candidate Day. There will not be hard interviews. They will all be calling in, and they will all be given 15 minutes to ask for your vote. We have all the candidates have confirmed on that list their time slot, with the exception of Doug Collins, and we'll get with his campaign today, and Steve Gooch. Those are the only two that have not confirmed their time slot. But David Rawson, Sam Snyder, John Williamson, Bernie Fontaine, Paul Brown, Roger Fitzpatrick, and Mike Skipine have Confirmed. That's next Monday. So if you've been waiting to find out which candidate to vote for, we're going to work all week long to make sure on the Election 2016 button at the top that you get information there. And then next Monday, all of these candidates here, you'll have 15 minutes to hear them ask for your vote.
My dear friend,
What?
you know both your glasses are on top of your head.
Yes, that way I didn't look for
I'm
'em.
thinking maybe you're working too hard, but if you can't see them out here, that's what
I have a third pair in the back.
Do they work?
Yes, they're for different purposes. I have a third pair.
Just in case you didn't know.
Huh?
Just in case you
I
didn't
have a
know.
pair to see from after the sheriff story. I have a pair to see behind my back. Huh? I gotta get the pair that looks behind me
You
now.
need to get some body armor
Huh?
too.
Huh?
You need to get some body armor.
Well, thanks
too.
a lot. Thanks a lot. Anyhow, but our goal this week will be to get you the most information. If you now stay tuned because right after these brief commercial messages will be North Georgia's only live online morning newscast. Kevin Hensley with the Morning Report will be right up. So you want to stay tuned for that. A lot of things took place around Gilmer.
He's got a lot of sports too, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, well, yeah, Gilmer Sports.
He's
Very
not a
good.
bad guy. He's a pretty good guy. He actually is.
And he speaks well for
He's doing pretty
for
well.
a local.
Huh? For a local?
Very well.
For a local. Yeah, he's not half bad. You need to stay tuned for a local. George said for a local, he's doing all right. Anyhow, Kevin Hensley with the Morning Report right up after this at 10 o'clock. And folks, I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned with the presidential race at this time. I want to leave you with this. The important elected office this November is not president. This is a story by Kelly Knitting. It's for local sheriff. Folks, I'm going to be working on this week because I'm telling you, I'm going to get a little deeper into the sheriff race this week. Your sheriff needs to be a constitutional sheriff. What I mean by that, you're never going to find a sheriff that wants to pick a fight with the federal government. They don't want to do that. I understand that. But they have to be clear and understand your sheriff needs to be a constitutional sheriff. That's very important.
They gotta know how to say no.
No. To serve and protect, almost every state and county has some of this slogan on badges, patches, uniforms, and or patrol cars. But how often do sheriffs really stop and think about what it means? To serve and protect, we'll talk about that tomorrow, how important that is. Folks, if you'd like to be a sponsor of FetcherNews.com, get in touch with us at chief@FetcherNews.com or get in touch with us at 706-889-9700. If you'd like to be a sponsor, we want to thank Dave Chevrolet in Jasper, Circuit World, promotional code FetcherNews.com, L&L Beanery, your downtown coffee shop in Blue Ridge, free Wi-Fi, Salon 84 Hair and Color, located at West Church Street in Jasper. Make your appointment today, 706-253-9876. Clock Tower Gifts and Boutique, located in Jasper. Schottenkirk Ford, also located on 515 down there in Jasper. Schottenkirk Ford. And UPS store of East LJ. One Source Business Products over in the East LJ Walmart Shopping Center. One Source Business Products. North Georgia Diamond, located in the East LJ Walmart Shopping Center. Promotional code FetcherNews.com. Mattress Overstock. Go see Gary, Richard, or Rhonda the Mattress Lady for the best mattress at the best price. Located in the East LJ Walmart Shopping Center. 706-698-7378. LJ Fitness, 379 River Street. 706-636-2348. WebWorks Lawn Care, locally owned, reliable service. Call Justin Webb. He's ready to work for you. Give him a call, 706-889-4893. WebWorks Lawn Care, 706-889-4893. Messrs. Orchards and Blue Ridge Ace Hardware. Check out their Amish furniture. Again, if you'd like to be a sponsor of our show, get in touch with us today, FetcherNews.com. And at chief@FetcherNews.com or 706-889-9700. We'll be back tomorrow morning at the same time. I think it'll be the same time, same place, same bat channel. I always wanted to say same bat channel, Lonnie. Check us out on the same bat channel, FYN TV. George, you ready to go?
Well,
We out of here?
yeah, we said everything.
You
needs
going to
be
lunch
said.
with Joe?
Probably. It's
Probably.
Monday.
I probably should run up there and say hello to Joe. He's been calling me every day, and I haven't got around to get. I keep telling him I'm sorry. So I might have to go up there. Lonnie, get us out of here. We're gone. Stay tuned for Kevin, North Georgia's only live online morning newscast, The Morning Report. After these messages.